Good morning and welcome to day 16 of our series. I'm going to introduce the topic of mental illness and mental disorders today. I will be talking at length in our Wednesday in the Word session at Wednesday at 7 p.m. So I'm a little out of order here, but I want to let you know what we're going to be doing for the rest of the time we're here together. I've laid a lot of groundwork to this point, and people are interested. I've been asked about certain types of disorders. So, in the remaining series, except for next Sunday, I will be talking about particular disorders. But starting in this, C.S. Lewis said this: mental pain is less dramatic than physical pain, but it is more common and also more hard to bear. The frequent attempt to conceal mental pain increases the burden. Mental illness, or psychopathology, is defined as patterns of thought, emotion, and behavior that are maladaptive, disruptive, or uncomfortable either for the person affected or others. And that's an important distinction to make. There are a lot of people who suffer from mental illness and are perfectly happy with it, but it causes great disruption in other people's lives. I'll be talking more about that as we go on. The pattern of thought, emotion, and or behavior has to cause clinically significant distress or impairment in social, occupational, or other important areas of functioning. Again, this is just defining what psychopathology is. I'll be talking more about this at length in Wednesday in the Word and as we talk about particular disorders. Although the term mental illness is not found in the Bible does provide several examples of people who struggled with mental illness. Perhaps the most vivid example that comes to mind is King Nebuchadnezzar. The illness he fought with is described in Daniel 4, verses 31 through 33. This is what it said. While the word was still in the king's mouth, Nebuchadnezzar had been making boasts about himself and about the kingdom that he had. While the word was still in the king's mouth, a voice fell from heaven. King Nebuchadnezzar, to you it is spoken, the kingdom has departed from you, and they shall drive you from men, and your dwelling shall be with the beasts of the field. They shall make you eat grass like oxen, and 7 times, 7 years, shall pass over you, till you know that the Most High rules in the kingdom of men, and gives it to whomever he chooses. Verse 33. That very hour the word was fulfilled concerning Nebuchadnezzar. He was driven from men and ate grass like oxen. His body was wet with the dew of heaven, till his hair had grown like eagle feathers, and his nails like bird claws. Nebuchadnezzar lived like that for 7 years. The rest of the 4th chapter of Daniel tells us about that. But Nebuchadnezzar had a delusion. He thought he was a cow. The general term for the delusion that you think you are an animal is lycanthropy. Now, Nebuchadnezzar had a specific form of lycanthropy called boanthropy. Boanthropy is the idea that you think you're a cow. And he lived that way for 7 years. The National Alliance on Mental Illness in the United States, it's known as NAMI, reports that about 1 in 5 adults, 1 in 5, 20%, that's 46.5 million people a year, will experience mental illness in a given year. Now that sounds like a lot, and it is a lot, but there's ways to explain that, and again, you're going to have to tune in to see what I'm talking about Wednesday evening, and then when I talk about specific illnesses. That will start tomorrow. Generally speaking, the incident rate, which is the percentage of the population for people who are experiencing a mental illness, is between 2 and 5%. Interesting. 90% of the churches in the United States have between 75 and 185 members. If you take the average of that statistic, you have about 130 members in your church. Now, some churches are bigger, some are smaller. We know that, but we're dealing with numbers that we can understand here. Simple math tells us that there are somewhere between 2 and 7 people in a church service that has 130 people there suffering from a significant mental illness. And that, my friends, is a serious problem. Now, typically, mental illness is determined by abnormal behavior or dysfunction. There are several kinds of abnormality that I will be discussing Wednesday evening. Since the fall of man, people have struggled with mental illness. The Bible is full of examples of people who had symptoms of depression, anxiety, and other types of mental illness. And the truth of the matter is, mental illness can affect any of us. Whether you're a pastor, a Sunday school teacher, or a faithful churchgoer, the suspected struggle of mental illness should not be a source of shame, nor should it be hidden. The church should be a place of safety and community, where people who are struggling can be honest, where they can ask people to rally around them in prayer and be assisted in seeking professional help. You see, God created the entirety of man. He made us body, soul, and spirit, and that includes the mind. And each of those parts are designed to operate and function as a whole. We are a unity. We're not separate parts. All of it make up who we are. None of us struggles with the idea of providing our bodies with nourishment, rest, or exercise. Or if we get sick, we don't refuse to get medical care. If you do, there's a mental illness for that too. We should give the same regard to the care of our spirit, soul, and mind. Seeking a counselor when our mental health is tenuous is like providing nourishment, rest, and exercise we need to the part of the body that needs support. I'm going to end today with this. Like I said, I'm introducing today, so we're going to be a little shorter than I have been normally. But as a Christian, you'll have good days and you'll have bad days, but you'll never have a day without God. 2 Timothy 1 and 7, this is one of my very favorite scriptures, and as Bishop Seal says right now, but this has been a favorite scripture of mine for a long time. 2 Timothy 1 and 7 says this: For God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and love and of a sound mind. That's it for today. I hope your appetite has been whetted for the remainder of this series. Starting tomorrow, I'm going to be talking about depression. And then Wednesday evening, I'm going to be taking what I talked about today and then expanding it into a longer lesson so we understand more about what mental illness is. And then Thursday and Friday, I will be talking about other mental illnesses, Saturday as well. And then I'm going to wrap up the series on Sunday. So go with God. Remember that you are loved. Be blessed. Walk in the glory of God. And I hope to see you again tomorrow.